South Korea's population is declining faster than it did in Europe during the Black Plague. South Korea's birth rate has officially dropped to an all-time low of 0.72 as of 2024, the lowest in the world. Now, there are many reasons for this, and I'm sure you've seen plenty of videos explaining them already: financial pressures, intense work culture, gender conflicts, Seoul centralized structure, you name it. But what's even more interesting is how young Koreans have stopped dating altogether. Simply put, no dating means no couples, no marriages, and of course, no babies. And that's becoming a serious problem. The South Korean government has even stepped in with official dating programs, and even Buddhist temples are now offering matchmaking temple stays to help people couple up. In the first part of this video, let's break down some of the numbers and reports to get a grasp of the situation. And in the latter part, let's take a look at some raw comments on the internet from South Koreans themselves on this issue. So according to a recent survey, 62.4% of non-married Koreans over the age of 18 are not in a relationship, while only 37.6% are. And that's pretty shocking. So why aren't people dating? Well, to start with men, the most common reason was, I don't have the financial luxury to meet someone, with 27.9% saying that. Other reasons included, I'm comfortable being alone at 25.9%, I don't have opportunities to meet people at 24.7%, and it's just a hassle at 7.9%. For women, the top reason was, I'm comfortable being alone, with 31.5%, and the other reasons were kind of similar with the men. And then there's another fascinating stat: 57.3% of Koreans in their 20s to 30s said that they have never been in a relationship before. Can you believe that? And when you stretch that out to 20 to 59 years old, it's still at 25.5%. So we're not talking about just young people here, it's across the board. And what's interesting is that industries related to dating, like restaurants, bars, movie theaters, are seeing significant declines because of this so-called dating recession. Even when people do date, they're dating on a budget. For your info, last year, single men and women spent an average of 74,700 Korean won, which is around $55 per date, which is down from the previous year. Interestingly, while the men pay for everything, or men should pay more, culture is still common in Korean dating. 39% of the men said that financial pressure is the reason they are not dating, compared to 0% from the women's side, at least in this survey. Speaking of men though, funny enough, I guess I'm technically part of the non-dating generation too, but that hasn't stopped matchmaking companies from spamming my phone every single day. I don't know how they know I'm not dating, but I keep getting sketchy messages, not just from matchmaking companies, but also phishing attempts for things like adult chat sites, and even worse, offers linked to prostitution. As creepy as it sounds, maybe they're trying to attract lonely men like me. Luckily though, I'm not too worried about my information leak or phishing attempts anymore, because I've got Aura. Today's video is sponsored by Aura, and it's a good time to talk about them because apparently hackers may have stolen the social security numbers of every American out there. Over 2.9 billion records were stolen from national public data, which includes personal information like your full name, address, date of birth, and social security number. And members of a hacker group have reportedly released this information for free online. If you weren't already taking precautions with your personal information, this should definitely be your wake-up call. However, Aura alerts me if they find my phone number, email, or social security number on the dark web. They notify me fast if anyone tries to use that information to access my credit or bank accounts. And get this, they even give me up to $5 million in identity theft insurance just in case the worst happens. So if you want to give it a try, go to my link aura.com/kpc for a free 14-day trial. That's plenty of time for Aura to check if your personal data has been exposed. Don't leave yourself vulnerable to data breaches and constant harassment like I was in. So head to aura.com/kpc and give it a shot. It's free for 2 weeks. So now back to our discussion. Let's talk about the 35% of young Koreans who are dating. For them, ironically, the small luxury trend is booming. Couples are going to fine dining restaurants, enjoying hotel stays, taking long drives, which of course requires a car, and exchanging expensive gifts. For example, Park Jae-min, a 22-year-old university student, said, "Since I don't have much money as a student, I had to save up for several months just to prepare for my partner's birthday. I wanted to make it special, so I went all out with a fancy dinner and a nice gift. gift. Professor Kwok from the Department of Psychology at Seoul National University explains that this trend comes from growing social inequality. As materialism becomes more widespread, young people feel that dating requires expensive outings and events, and for those who can't afford these things, they just opt out of dating altogether. And let's not forget social media. Young Koreans are constantly exposed to images of lavish dates and luxury lifestyles online, which only makes them feel like they can't keep up. And so far, we've covered the financial reasons why many young Koreans aren't dating, but there's more to it than that. Beyond just money, many are seeing dating as inefficient or even unnecessary. A study showed that among the 65.6% of 19 to 36-year-olds who aren't dating, 70.4% said they are single by choice. A decade ago, when we talked about people giving up on dating, marriage, and having kids, it was more of a sad, involuntary choice, known as the 삼포 세대 or 삼포 generation in Korea. But now it's a voluntary decision for many. The younger generation sees dating as a luxury, something they could do, but they don't need to do. So the question is, do they really have a choice, or are they just adapting to the circumstances? And yet, here's a weird contradiction. While fewer people are dating reality shows have never been so popular. Shows like Singles Inferno, I Am Solo, Transit Love, Heart Signal, and On are all major hits in Korea right now. People are even phrasing it the golden era of dating reality shows in Korea. According to mBrain Trend Monitor, 52.2% of Koreans aged 19 to 49 have watched a dating reality show, and 53.3% said that they use these dating shows as proxy dating or vicarious satisfaction. Basically, they're getting their dating fix by watching others fall in love on TV. Experts say that this is similar to how people on diets try to watch mukbang videos to satisfy their cravings. And another irony in this dating recession is the rising of dating apps. According to this statistic, 78.1% of young people hadn't met a new romantic partner since COVID-19 started. Now, traditionally, dating apps have had a bad rep in Korea. They were seen as tools for casual relationships or aka hookups, but that stigma is slowly fading. I guess it's being seen as convenient, less energy draining, and efficient in some way. For the younger generation who don't have opportunities to meet people, apps are becoming perfect bridges. However, the type of apps are getting specific too to cater towards the younger Korean generation. For instance, dating apps like Amanda, where users have to be verified and rated by others to join, or Gold Spoon, which verifies users' assets, jobs, and even cars, are getting more popular. Ironically, even with more people using more types of dating apps, the number of actual couples is still dropping. And some experts point out that dating apps might be just feeding into the materialistic and individualistic culture among the youth, where relationships are sadly viewed as disposable or replaceable. Apparently, the Korean MZ generation value efficiency and individualism. They've grown up in a hyper-competitive society, and they don't want to fail in dating unless they find the perfect partner. Korea's intense focus on education and economic uncertainty have seemed to diminish enthusiasm for relationships. According to a survey by Shiza-in, 64.2% of respondents said competition in Korea makes them feel exhausted. This sentiment is especially strong among singles who have no plans to marry. Professor Ho Jung-hwa notes that while past generations might have sacrificed for love and family, today's youth are more cautious. The fear of failure, job instability, and high expectations have led many to delay dating and focus on themselves instead. And the reasons keep going on. Another thing is that there are so many enjoyable things to do alone now, quite frankly. You can ask any office worker, single or in a relationship, what they do after work, and you'll often hear, "I just like to watch Netflix or YouTube at home." It's affordable, it's easy, and it gives them joy without needing to go out. Compare that to our parents' generation where entertainment options were very limited. So today, with smartphones, computers, and endless content online, young people can live a perfectly happy life without dating. And to continue, warning now, we have to get into everybody's favorite subject, gender conflict, which quite frankly is a big problem in South Korean society. Young Korean people in their 20s express a variety of views on gender discrimination. In particular for Korean women, they are still dealing with everyday sexism in a society that is still very patriarchal. And Korean men, on the other hand, feel like the media and politics exaggerate these extreme views, making gender conflicts seem worse than they are. Date assault, hidden cameras, revenge porn, and deepfake scandals constantly hitting the news, distorting the image of Korean men. Moving on, high expectations in dating are also very common. Online forums are filled with ideal types that are unrealistic for most people to meet. And recently, for men, the term marry up, where women seek to marry wealthier and higher status men, adds to the frustration and pressure they feel. And last but not least, we have to finally mention the regional imbalance. Outside of Seoul, young Korean people in rural areas simply don't have any options to meet people their age. While men are relatively still needed more in the countryside and other cities for manual labor jobs, factory jobs, and industrial jobs, women, on the contrary, are flocking to Seoul for better career prospects. And eventually, this leaves a big gap in regional societies. And now, let's take a look at some real comments from the Korean netizens. It's gonna get spicy, so buckle up. And starting with the ladies. I'm fine by myself. We don't eat shit just because we're hungry. It doesn't affect my life even if I don't date. You can have so much fun by yourself anyways. There's no one good looking. There's a saying, you mess yourself up by meeting a guy, but you can't get messed up by not meeting one. And that's no joke. We see so many cases of women ruining their lives after dating. And from the men's side, I'm exhausted and I'd rather stay alone than deal with you. You need emotional space to handle someone else's problems and look for their good qualities. Frankly, there aren't many people who are like sweet vitamins that give you energy. It's not that I like being alone, it's just better off being alone. Nowadays, instead of seeking joy, I'd rather avoid stress during my free time. To continue, here are some of the most upvoted comments from related YouTube videos and articles. I'm already in my 30s, I'm so tired and exhausted, it's more efficient to recharge by myself than having a partner. Nobody I know is dating anymore. After I got a job, my free time became too precious. Unless someone amazing comes along, I'd rather rest at home. There are so many other things to do instead of dating. In the old days, there were no smartphones. Now you can just watch whatever you want, eat single-serving meals, and order delivery. In order to date, you have to take care of yourself, but the standards keep on getting higher. And because of that, many people give up, and when they do, they feel like complete losers. And it messes with their ego. Lookism, materialism, and a competitive society are driving people away from relationships and towards pets. Love is supposed to be about dedication and sacrifice, but nowadays everyone is calculating and trying not to lose. It's not love anymore, it's dating for the sake of dating. Dating is just expensive. I normally don't eat anything fancy, but when I'm dating, I feel like I need to. Even if we split the bill, the cost is just too high, so I start avoiding it. You can meet people easily on apps, but with all the things to enjoy alone and seeing how marriage turned out for our parents, the fantasy about happiness in marriage is shattered. And finally, I feel like this one sums it up perfectly with over 3,000 likes. Things that need to disappear for Korea to be a better place. Number 1, the culture of murderous competition. Number 2, the culture of comparing everything and raising standards unnecessarily. Number 3, gender conflict that instigates unnecessary division. Number 4, the concentration of everything in Seoul. Number 5, the work environment that makes marriage and raising kids difficult. As you can see, there are so many reasons to why dating has become less common in South Korea. Whether it's financial pressure, individualism, or just having so many options for solo enjoyment, young people are rethinking relationships, and that is just the reality. And I don't think anybody has a solution. Let me know what you thought about this topic in the comment section. Why do you think dating is on the decline? Is it like this in your countries as well? I would love to hear your opinions. Please don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell, and thanks for watching.